Now with the latest news in Northern Ireland, it's UTV Live with Paul Reilly and Sarah Clarke.
Hello and welcome. You're watching UTV Live at 6.
Good evening. These are the stories making the headlines.
The man found guilty of the murder of Offaly school teacher Ashling Murphy has been jailed for life.
Ashling, a national school teacher, was out for a walk after work when she was attacked and murdered by Mr. Pushkin. This monstrous crime shocked the nation.
Disappointment for families as a court rules that coroners cannot be allocated to outstanding legacy inquests, with the Legacy Act deadline looming.
Oscar winner James Martin lends some star power to the Corrymeela Community Christmas campaign.
Also tonight, born weighing less than a kilo but now a heavy hitter on the football pitch. On World Prematurity Day, we meet the people who defied the odds.
And heavy rain on the way through tonight, but I'll have the full details of the weather warning coming up later in the programme.
The man found guilty of the murder of County Offaly school teacher Ashling Murphy while she was out running has been sentenced to life in prison.
The judge told 33-year-old Joseph Pushka that the sentence was richly deserved, and the one thing we don't know about this case is the why. Ashling's partner told the court because of Pushka he will never get to marry his soulmate. Sarah O'Kane has this report, which begins with flashing images.
This is Joseph Pushka in custody just days after murdering Ashling Murphy. Today, the 33-year-old was sentenced to life in prison for the brutal attack, something the judge said was richly deserved.
This monstrous crime shocked the nation. The investigation team were professional and steadfast in their determination that the person responsible for Ashling's murder would be brought to justice. I also, most importantly, did want to thank the community of Tullamore, a compassionate, kind, resilient and generous community. They were of invaluable assistance to An Garda Síochána throughout this investigation, providing us in particular with access to CCTV, which was instrumental in building the case against Mr. Pushka.
The 23-year-old was stabbed 11 times in the neck by Pushka in a random attack while she was out running in broad daylight along this canal near her home in Tullamore on the 12th of January last year. Ashling fought for her life but sadly died at the scene. Today, the court heard the talented musician's murder had left a palpable void, and her family still set a place at the table for Ashling. Her mother, Kathleen, said her heart was ripped from her body the moment she learned her daughter had been killed. During the trial, Pushka of Llanelly Grove in Muckla tried to blame the murder on another man, even though he had told Gardaí he did it. The jury of 9 men and 3 women didn't believe him, and the judge described his story as nonsense. In his impact statement, the school teacher's partner Ryan Casey told Pushka, "Because of you, I've lost my Ashling. Because of you, I will never get to marry my soulmate. Because of you, I will never see her smile again. I will have to somehow carry on without her." Ashling's sister Amy said this country has lost somebody who made a difference. She told Pushka that he had told a ludicrous set of lies, and the family have been left traumatised after having to sit through a trial. The law in the Republic means Pushka could spend the rest of his life in prison, something the judge said should happen, because one thing we don't know about this case is why. Sarah O'Kane, UTV Live.
And for more on this story and the rest of today's news, head to our website, just search UTV News.
Families say they're shattered and disappointed to be told they're unlikely to get an inquest into their loved ones' deaths due to a lack of resources.
That's because of the government's controversial legacy bill, which means troubles-related inquests must reach a verdict by next May. Peter Moore sent this report from the High Court in Belfast.
going to court on the ever-revolving route to justice.
For over 50 years we've been looking for truth, justice, prosecution or whatever. We're not getting very far very quickly.
It's a journey that could well be halted. Pat McVeigh's father, Patrick, was shot by the British Army in 1972. Today, she and a number of other families were told coroners cannot be allocated to 10 outstanding legacy inquests. That's due to the government's Legacy Act. It says any inquests which haven't reached a verdict by next May will be discontinued. Today, the judge said it will be very difficult for an inquest to come to a conclusion before this date. It's just 6 months away, and for these families, it seems all too close a deadline when it's taken decades to get this far.
We've been fighting for over 50 years to try and get the truth of what happened. After a very long fight, we finally got the Attorney General to grant us a new inquest. So the fight goes on, but obviously it's going to be very difficult.
That fight will continue next week for Tony and many others. His sister Martha Campbell was shot dead by the British Army. She was just 13 years old. Her family and so many others will be watching events at the High Court next week. There's to be a legal challenge surrounding the human rights compliance of the Legacy Act. And today, the coroner said it wouldn't be appropriate to take a final view on these unallocated inquests until next week's judgment. But that judgment is unlikely to be the end of this story.
Although his decision is likely to be subject to appeal, and ultimately that may end up in the Supreme Court. So this isn't going to be a speedy resolution of these issues, so it's a bit of a long wait for the families, but we do hope there's some clarification in advance of the guillotine date of the 1st of May 2024.
In a statement, the Northern Ireland office said any cases that haven't yet concluded will be transferred to the Independent Commission for Reconciliation and Information Recovery. It will have full disclosure by state bodies and the power to compel witnesses, and that its primary focus is to provide a better outcome for families. Today was another legal step, but the biggest step will come next week when the government's legacy bill is set to be challenged. But these families are increasingly losing hope and wondering if they will ever see justice for their loved ones. Peter Moore, UTV Live at the High Court in Belfast.
Well, staying with legacy, and the Victims Commissioner has resigned to accept the post of Chief Executive of peace-building charity Cooperation Ireland. Mr Jeffers, who held the role of Commissioner for 18 months, succeeds Peter Sheridan in September. It was announced Mr Sheridan, a former police officer, is set to become Commissioner for Investigations at the government's new legacy body in Northern Ireland. The body will take over hundreds of unresolved Troubles cases now the government's controversial Legacy Act has become law.
A viable device has been discovered following a security alert which led to homes being evacuated in County Londonderry. Police said the item removed from the Lecca Drive area of Macrofelt has been taken away for further examination.
The prosecution file against the man charged with killing Natalie McNally is more or less ready at court hard today. 33-year-old Stephen McCullough from Woodland Gardens in Lisburn is accused of stabbing his partner, Miss McNally, at her home in Largan in December last year. She was 15 weeks pregnant at the time.
Thousands of patients in Larne may need to find alternative GP care next year after Larne Medical Practice gave notice of its intention to withdraw from their contract to deliver services. The Department of Health confirmed that the practice's contract will end on the 30th of April 2024 and that it will now begin a process to secure alternative arrangements for these services.
More than 200 barristers across Northern Ireland have taken part in strike action in a dispute over a hold-up in receiving legal aid fees for completed work. The Solicitors Criminal Bar Association claimed a wait of up to 6 months for payment is unacceptable. It's the first time that barristers here have taken such comprehensive industrial action.
The current situation just is unsustainable for practitioners. It means that, when there's a delay in payments, there are unfortunately some people who are having to consider other career options. Some young practitioners in particular are being forced to consider leaving the profession altogether, which means a lack of representation in the courts for the public.
For almost 60 years, Corrymeela in Ballycastle has been promoting peace and reconciliation.
This year, for the first time, the organisation has launched a Christmas campaign focusing on the vital work it does within communities, and it's even attracted the support of one of Northern Ireland's best-known Oscar winners, as I've been finding out. Since 1965, the Corrymeela community has welcomed global leaders and crowned heads. The Ballycastle retreat promotes peace and reconciliation. Tim, in 2023, is there still a need for Corrymeela?
So locally and globally, the world that we see is a world that's becoming more tense, more polarised, and where it's more and more difficult for people from different communities to connect well together. And that's the core of what we do. We help people from all kinds of different backgrounds, different religious backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds, ethnicities, come together, meet, connect as human beings, and explore how we can enrich each other.
Around 7,500 people pass through Corrymeela's doors each year, but this work costs money, around £1.5 million annually. A third of this is from charitable donations. This year, for the first time, the organisation is launching a Christmas campaign, Shine a Light for Peace. People are facing a cost of living crisis at the minute. How concerned are you about your ability to fundraise right now?
Yeah, so that's always a concern, and we see that particularly because we work with people living in very marginalised communities. On the other hand, I know that the people in Northern Ireland are extremely generous and also really want to live in a more peaceful society. I know for myself and my community, so many of us want to do that, but sometimes wonder how can we do that? And this is a really practical way that people can do this.
Lending his support, Oscar-winning actor James Martin, a regular visitor to Corrymeela. Tell me about some of the activities you did when you were at Corrymeela.
I did drama, so like I did hand painting, fake painting, did dancing and singing and a bit of drama. And it's really nice to have that experience in Corrymeela.
2023 has been quite the year for James Martin, hasn't it?
It has, but in a good way, but I'm not really complaining. But it's just really nice to be home and spend time with the family, especially with the holidays too, you know, really.
Well, listen, we wish you all the best for 2024 then, James.
Oh, thank you so much, yes.
The brilliant James Martin speaking to me earlier, and he does tell me 2024 is looking very, very busy.
Yes, and another Oscar perhaps?
Who knows?
A
Who
double
knows,
Oscar
James?
winner?
We'll keep it crossed for you. Still to come on this evening's programme. Belfast fighter James McGivern takes to the ring as boxing returns to Donegal for the first time in 13 years.
And on World Prematurity Day, we meet the babies who defied the odds. So for that and more, do stay with us.
The one good thing about shorter days is longer, cosier nights. And thanks to Star Plan, you can snuggle up in style in a gorgeous fitted bedroom. A clutter-free, stress-free, relaxing room with everything neatly in its place. And the best bit? Order your perfect bedroom right now at half price with a free bed, interest-free finance and a £100 Amazon gift card. So you can buy even more stuff to hide. I mean, store away. Star Plan's autumn sale ends Monday.
The hip, do the hip, hopper, you don't stop the rocker, do the bang, bang.
1 million.
Lady Million.
Fragrances by Rabanne.
Amazon's term time contract is a guaranteed 10 weeks off in a year, which gives me more time off to spend with my kids.
We were asked to make an ad with a cracker paint in it. So here you go. Pure handy day's work. Harp, pure here.
You are very welcome back to Friday's UTV Live at 6 with Sarah Clarke and Paul Reilly. It's just gone 14 minutes past 6. A reminder of this evening's top stories. The man found guilty of the murder of County Offaly school teacher Ashling Murphy has been jailed for life.
And there's disappointment for families as the court rules that coroners cannot be allocated to outstanding legacy inquests, with the Legacy Act deadline looming.
Time now to take a look at the headlines making tonight's ITV News at 6:30.
Here's Charlene White.
Coming up, warnings from the UN that starvation could be imminent in Gaza as food, fuel and water run critically low. Israel says it will allow 2 fuel trucks into the Gaza Strip each day for the UN to continue aid work, but there are fears it won't be enough. Plans to offer women going through the menopause talking therapy to help with symptoms. And Everton in the danger zone after being docked 10 Premier League points for breaching fair play rules. But what does it mean for their rivals? We'll talk through that and lots more other stories from 6:30.
OK, time now for this evening's sport.
Here's Daniel Duffy.
Becoming a pro cyclist, it can be an uphill struggle, but sure, that's the regular Saturday for me.
Hughes Insurance sponsors UTV Sport.
Good evening. Northern Ireland are into the final stages of their European Championship qualifier in Finland. With just under half an hour left, they are currently losing 2-0, thanks to a penalty 4 minutes before half-time and a second goal 3 minutes after the break. Moving to rugby, and Ulster are back at the Kingspan Stadium tonight as they face South African side Lions in the United Rugby Championship. Ian Henderson returns to captain the team and Stuart McCluskey keeps his place at inside centre. He's been reflecting on his time at the Rugby World Cup with Ireland. Our sports correspondent Ruth Gorman has this report.
Stuart McCluskey was the topic of many conversations before the World Cup, and he proved the doubters wrong when he made the 31-man squad. Although he would have loved more game time, he came off the bench for almost an hour against Scotland.
It was just the way the things sort of worked out there that I didn't really get playing, and I think Bundy fully deserved to start, and he showed that. He was one of the 4 guys nominated for World Player of the Year, so hopefully if I had been starting I would have been close enough to that as well. I still fully believe we probably should have won it, gone on and won the whole thing, but sometimes that's professional sport, isn't it? Like, there's 2 good teams going at it in that quarter-final day, and unfortunately we were on the wrong side, but I've really enjoyed that 6 weeks out there, and the 8 weeks before that. I thought it was really well done, really well organised, and great group of lads, a great group of people there, and it was just disappointing that we couldn't go on and get it all done.
McCluskey's story is one of patience. After a long spell in the international wilderness, he almost gave up.
Probably that tour when I didn't get picked to go to New Zealand, I had a phone call with Faz and I nearly said it was going to call it a day. And sort of, I'm not saying he talked me out of it, like I probably talked myself out of it as we were chatting, because it wasn't like a angry conversation, it was just a chat. And then I ended up going that tour, played the Maoris, played well, and ended up starting 6 games in a row after that, winning 6 Nations, winning 3 games with the All Series, going World Cup. So it's amazing how things turn around very quickly. So it's just the way it is. Sometimes some coaches don't see what other coaches see.
McCluskey's goal is to keep playing for Ireland for as long as possible and to win silverware with Ulster. He admits being jealous of Munster winning the URC last season.
There's a bit of jealousy there, personally, if not, I hope everybody's a bit jealous of it, because it's something you can really strive to get to, isn't it? We just got to keep trying our best to get better every day. Whether, I think if we get down to a single game or a semi-final, final, I think we can beat everybody on our day. It's just we have to eventually get to the stage where we bring our best out in that day, not just a one-off.
McCluskey is partnered by James Hume in the centre tonight as Ulster look to maintain their winning home record. Ruth Gorman, UTV Live.
Well, Tom McKibben and Shane Lowry are both 6 shots off the lead at the DP Tour Championship. Both sit on 5 under par at the halfway stage. Rory McIlroy shot a level par round of 72 this afternoon. That leaves him 10 shots off the pace on 1 under par. McIlroy had 3 birdies on his front 9 but struggled with his putting on the back 9. The world number 2 resigned from the PGA Tour board earlier this week amidst a turbulent time for the tour. He wants to focus on his own golf and family life.
I've got a lot going on in my life between my golf game, my family, my growing investment portfolio, my involvement in TGL, and I just felt like something had to give. I just didn't feel like I could commit the time and the energy into doing that. I don't mind being busy, but I just like being busy doing my own stuff. So something had to give, and there's guys that are on that board that are spending a lot more time and a lot more energy on it than I am, and you know, it's in good hands, and I felt like it was the right time to step off.
Well, boxing returns to Letterkenny for the first time since 2010 tomorrow night, when undefeated Belfast boxer James McGivern has a shot at a first professional title when he takes on Scotland's Josh Sanford for the vacant Celtic lightweight title. Jordan Moore has this report.
8 rounds for the BUI Celtic lightweight title. Sanford versus McGivern.
Eyes on each other and on the prize. Boxing is a tale as old as time, yet for Letterkenny it seems like a lifetime since the bell rung out. Dungiven man Paul McCluskey was the last fighter in the ring in the town when he defended his European lightweight title 13 years ago. But that will all change on Saturday when Belfast boy James McGivern fights for his first professional belt.
Yeah, it's a long time coming now. I've been shouting about this belt for it feels like years. So to finally get it to happen, and it's been on the line a couple of times and fell through, so finally I feel like we're going to get the whole way there now, and it's just full steam ahead to the 18th.
Promoter of the event, professional boxer and Donegal native Jason Quigley is glad to see the sport back in the northwest.
To have firstly the public workout here in the middle of Letterkenny Shopping Centre, and to see the buzz that's going on here around all the lads and the exposure that these lads are getting, it's unbelievable. You know, coming from Donegal myself, it's a very proud moment to have it here in Donegal.
McGivern has won all 7 of his professional fights. His Scottish opponent, all 6 of his. Both have a bounce in their step, as both expect to win the Celtic lightweight title.
It's a 50-50 fight right down the middle, and the guys were just saying that as well. And I've been trying to get a big fight for quite a while now, so this is a perfect opportunity and one that I've been waiting on. I've got a good idea on James and his style and stuff like that, and he's a decent opponent, and that's exactly what I'm looking for.
50-50 fight on paper, isn't it? I was sparring there last week and I was absolutely flying. I'm sharp as get out. The weight's good, I'm feeling fit as a fiddle, so it feels like it's all just coming to a head here in the 18th.
The Ormeau roadman certainly has a history of success at amateur level, winning bronze at the 2018 Commonwealth Games in Australia. But he's had a stop-start career as a professional, with COVID and cancelled fights at times leaving it on the ropes. He'll be hoping a victory on Saturday will turn him from contender to champion and kickstart his career. Jordan Moore, UTV Live.
And finally, the Ulster Camogie final takes place on Sunday between Lochiel and Leitrim, and the Ulster hurling semi-final between Portaferry and Cushendall takes place in Armagh. If you're going to the game, I'll see you there. That's all your sport this evening. Bye for now.
Whether I'm road racing or time trialling, the toughest tests make the wins feel all the better.
Hughes Insurance sponsors UTV Sport.
He's a very busy man, Daniel Duffy. Now, he's my miracle, the words of one mum whose son was born at 25 weeks, weighing just over 900 grams. Owen McCarthy now plays for Linfield Reserves and is studying sports science at university.
The 18-year-old told me being born premature has never held him back. I joined him, other children, parents and staff at the Royal Victoria Hospital's maternity unit this morning for a special event to mark World Prematurity Day. Party time for the Prem babies who've defied the odds to survive and thrive. Growing up healthy and happy, their stories are an inspiration. Among them, a young Owen McCarthy, who now plays for Linfield Reserves. The 18-year-old signed for the Blues Academy as a child and is now studying sports science at university.
I couldn't be any more proud of him. I really couldn't. He's just done everything so well, from school to his football to university. He's just fab.
And do you think that in any way, Owen, being born premature ever held you back?
No one has held me back at all. I live my day-to-day life as everyone else does. I went to school, was in St Joseph's College the 5th year, and then I went to football academy in 6th year and came out of it with 3 A's at A level. And now I'm in university in Jonestown doing a sports studies course for 4 years, so it hasn't held me back at all. And I still play football 3-4 times a week as well for Linfield.
I mean, if I remember you when you were just a wee button in an incubator.
Just tiny, mummy's hand. Weren't you?
Little Peter Rabbit had a fly upon his nose.
Fionnuala McCardle spoke to UTV back when her now 8-year-old daughter was born at just 23 weeks.
I have never met more wonderful staff and doctors. They're miracle workers. That's all you can call them, honestly. They're miracle workers. They did everything for us and they saved my daughter's life. So yeah, I owe them everything.
Looking after premature babies is challenging, but it's actually, there's always hope, and I think for most families who embark on having a child, they don't realise that there's sometimes potentially problems that come along, particularly if the babies are born too soon. So this World Prematurity Day is a kind of a nice way of highlighting the sort of work that neonatologists, neonatal nurses and all the staff who look after these babies do.
The families here today have shared similar journeys of pain and joy, and many have become friends as a result. But each of these special children is unique. They've spent weeks, if not agonising months here at the Royal, but today was a celebration as they were reunited with the staff who saved their little lives.
Lots of happy faces there, and Anne McCarthy's clearly a very proud mum as well.
Very proud mum, and really amazing staff. They couldn't thank them enough.
Wonderful.
UTV Life is on the way at 7 this evening.
Yeah, let's find out what's coming up. Here's Rita with all the details.
Yes, on UTV Life tonight at 7, I'll be catching up with one of Ireland's most celebrated sopranos, Deirdre Masterson. She'll be talking to me about her upcoming concert with the New York tenors. Junior Eurovision song contestant Sophie Lennon will be chatting to me about new projects and her debut single Fireflies. And Eden Wilson will be racing in Kirkeston for a good cause. That's UTV Life at 7 o'clock, right after the national weather.
Eden on a go-kart, not to be missed. Now, there's a weather warning issued for parts of County Down.
Yes, Ashling has more.
Yes, well, a busy 12 hours of weather ahead. The Met Office have issued a yellow warning, a very focused yellow warning across parts of County Down for some heavy rainfall. So we'll just take a look in more detail at that. 10 to 15 millimetres quite widely, or 40 to 50 millimetres over the hills. Now that's about 1 to 2 weeks worth of rainfall. So in isolation, that's not unusual, but so far this autumn, we have actually had our quota of rainfall. So there's a lot of sensitivity on the ground out there, and for tonight, that sensitivity is certainly across parts of County Down. That rain warning will expire as we head through the early part of this morning. In general, though, over the next few days, we are expecting further heavy rainfall. We're not expecting it to amount to very much, but into next week, a brief break in the weather. This is our jet stream. It drives all of our weather systems. A little dip in the jet stream down in the Atlantic allows just a little ridge of high pressure to build in for a few days into the early part of next week. So that should allow more of the rainfall that we've had over the last few weeks to filter through. But here's the full details of the forecast as we head through the weekend.
Come rain, come shine. It's warming up nicely. UTV Weather, sponsored by Grant Heating.
Yes, well, a busy few days of weather to come, but particularly busy through tonight. The Met Office having issued a yellow warning for some heavy rainfall. And then as we head through the weekend, the possibility of coastal gales, particularly as we head through Saturday. In general, though, something a little settled on the way into next week, and that should just give us a little break in the weather and the changeable weather conditions, but something a little colder as well on the way. Now out there tonight, if the rain isn't with you, it soon will be. A very unsettled night, outbreaks of rain, that rain warning in place as we head through the early hours of the morning. Heaviest of the rain will have cleared away by tomorrow morning. A legacy of low cloud, misty, murky conditions left behind. Temperatures dropping back to around 6 degrees Celsius. Now through Saturday morning, there's going to be a fair amount of cloud around, and we're going to hang on to a good deal of cloud through the day. A scattering of showers as well, blustery showers, quite gusty winds, and particularly strong winds along the coast, but it is going to be mild. Temperatures getting up to around 13 or 14 degrees Celsius, so well above average for the time of year. Across the rest of Ireland, after a damp start first thing in the morning, some sunshine around, a scattering of showers, mild here as well, but coastal gales along the west and south coast, so a busy day of weather here as well. From Saturday into Sunday, it's all about low pressure driving the weather. With that, we're going to see showers continuing to pile in, but a slight easing, opening out of the isobars on Sunday means the breeze will ease off ever so slightly. So that's the main difference with the weather on Sunday. The winds certainly falling lighter. And then through Sunday, some sunshine around, a scattering of showers, just about hanging on to the mild weather, highs of 12 degrees. Take care, bye-bye.
Things are warming up rather nicely. UTV Weather, sponsored by Grant Heating.
Well, that is the very latest this Friday evening. Aidan Brown will have our late bulletin at 11 o'clock.
ITV News continues with Charlene White. For now, from all of us here, thanks for watching and good evening.
Good evening.
Warnings of an immediate risk of mass starvation in Gaza, with water and food practically non-existent. The UN says only a fraction of the aid is getting through because of fuel shortages, leaving families with nothing to survive on, and aid agencies frustrated.
If you, as member states of the United Nations, will not or cannot stop this bloodshed, then we must ask, what is the United Nations for?
This as Israel buries more of those who are kidnapped by Hamas, as civilians in the south of Gaza are told to move ahead of more strikes. We'll have the latest also tonight. At the end of a tumultuous week in politics, the internal rows show no sign of abating. Everton's 10-point deduction for breaking the rules. Other clubs wait to see if they too will be sanctioned. And the much-hyped Las Vegas Grand Prix kicks off with chaos, confusion and embarrassment, and a loose manhole cover.
This is the ITV Evening News with Charlene White.
Good evening. Aid agencies are warning tonight of a widespread starvation of Palestinians inside Gaza who have no food or clean water. The United Nations says it can't distribute desperately needed aid there because fuel supplies have been cut off. Israel's now agreed to allow 2 trucks per day into Gaza to deliver fuel to the UN, but it's not clear what difference that will even make. It came after the body of a second Israeli hostage held by Hamas